Welcome everyone to another quick open source video. Linux kernel 6.2 is out for this leading open source kernel implementation with certainly one of the most feature supported platforms and so on. So let's take a quick look what is new. I also already test, built and running that. So if the live stream crashes then that could be why. So as usual, using here the kernel newies feature to track all those changes. We're certainly not redoing all those weeks of work going in here to collect those features. As per usual, not necessarily the most outstanding features. That would be for some things, including support for Apple Silicon, M1 Max and Pro and stuff. A little bit surprised that was not earlier in there. But, oops, I clicked here somewhere. But as usual, it takes some months to get this upstream. So unfortunately, they list this in not necessarily the most important order, but faster mitigation, although maybe that for data centers in 90% market share. Probably Red Bleed CPU vulnerability. So that is now a little bit faster mitigated, a little bit less costly. Red Bleed vulnerability was fixed with the help of some mitigation techniques. This technique until now used to have a considerably impact on performance. So this is now a little bit fine BT and other mitigation features. The only constant is change and security vulnerabilities. Better has improvements, which one of the file systems I use the most with in-kernel and most modern features. Also, that feature improved. I don't use at all, so that release improves reliability for RAID 5, RAID 6. The reason I don't use that feature of BetterFS, in my opinion, I prefer this stuff stacked, so I'm actually using RAID from LVM2. I find this a little bit silly to re-implement all the RAID features in all the file systems, but your mileage may vary. Better control, block device write back, support for TCP protective load balancing, BPF, user-defined objects for this, Berkeley packet filter, in-kernel JIT. Runtime verification tool was merged, lightweight yet rigorous method for complementing classical exhaustive verification technique for those who use runtime verification. Some optional power savings, improved RCU locking. So I found maybe the new kernel is another second faster here, building the Linux kernel. So that is building, so this is building 6.1.12 as reference, but I'm building this on 6.2, just building the other kernel for performance comparison. It is a little bit faster, but I also run with my Infinity Fabric overclocked some 33 megahertz or so now. So yeah, I have not factored that out, but it's fast. So continuing with many features as per usual. So I only go there quickly and this will still take 30 minutes. User space verification, we mentioned runtime verification, we mentioned that. C group, CPU set, version 2 optimizations, IOU ring, new send, zero copy report usage of all the modern complexities. Many Rust language core editions. I probably should actually test to build that. The last time I tried to build this for Psi Linux, where actually, ironically, the one major use cases for the Apple Silicon AGX Psi Linux kernel forks-based driver. That didn't instantly build for me. That is a little bit sad, but yeah, Rust language core editions continue to mature. Set standard for another compression that I use and love the most, updated to 1.5.2 upstream. In the meantime, set standard upstream is 1.5.4 though, but certainly some performance improvements welcome. Support, not really sure what that means though. I clicked on another one though. I'm a little bit surprised because I thought this was already upstream, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Maybe they initially only had firmware upstream, which I wonder a little bit Was it broken for some months in... Interesting. Maybe our compressed module learning was not functional for months. Ext upper limit. Exit put an upper limit on how often we can. Oops. What the heck? Sometimes I really wonder what is going on there. But apparently something. Prepare addition of more syscall directly. Kernel panic split. Interesting stuff. Yeah, also silly stuff like export. I mean, some stuff is, I appreciate the attention to detail, but it's like that the CPU engine is reporting that this is now reported. I mean, it only has a relevance for architectures where the CPU engines might differ. For example, for PowerPC, certainly x86 is always little endian, and other architectures are always big endian. So PowerPC ARM, one of the few, potentially RISC-V, but I guess there are currently no big, at least not that I'm aware, or major RISC-V big endian implementation. Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, not only that this is implemented, but that it also is being mentioned here. Scheduler, affinity, events. So like basically, let's scroll faster here. So many, the usual stuff. I'm still surprised that after a decade so many things can change, or still needs to be worked on better. As mentioned previously, RAID, discard, async, F2FS, XFS. Surprisingly, I mean, I'm surprised people still work on XFS, honestly. And TFS version 3, hidden dot file options, other file systems, views, memory management, IO MMU FD, file descriptor, user space API to control IO MMU subsystem for IO page tables, other IO MMU changes there, folio conversion, convert. So apparently folios might start to trickle in now with convert, and certainly that could also be another % of performance improvements, at least with file systems and other APIs supporting that. Folios being not handling each memory page. I find this page a little bit, as this naming a little bit, I would have, I don't know, folios is a little bit silly name. Some months ago I was thinking about a better name. Maybe initially it even had a better, like basically page groups or page sets or whatever. But yeah, folios it is. memcg, convert, memory management, RSS state, per CPU counters, VM scan, rotation, secondary factor, balancing, IRQs enabled, per CPU page allocations, and yeah, block layer, memory, SysOffice knobs for controlling write backs, as mentioned earlier, BPS, Berkeley packet filter, also as mentioned previously, right? Maybe I should mention some things that didn't change. So one thing I found disappointing is that AMD p-state does not have any changes. That is extremely disappointing. Another set before you tune out, as I mentioned, Apple Silicon, M1 Max and M1 Pro, but also for PowerPC frame buffer, there is now a new IEEE simple DRM frame buffer for those like us who like replacing the previous IEEE frame buffer. Otherwise, this is a little bit funny. I should have clicked on this earlier, but what is not more fun than discovering that here together, because I really wonder what they do with EFIVAS prohibit reading random seed variables. Okay, this is prohibit reading that because that is use EFI variables. So somehow you can then store random state, which is like complexity in 2023. I guess it is for saving random. I mean, it must probably be saving random seed on shutdown, I guess, but I'm speculating here. What people implement, yeah, RNG protocol. Yeah, I mean, usually we save this in the file system, but 2023 saves this in EFI variables. AppAmor, landlock, truncate support, This is called TCP, so networking. I mean, in one way it is amazing. I mean, obviously it shows that 10,000 engineers from all over Google, Microsoft, Oracle, IBM and so on work on this, and 10,000s of hobbyists and stuff and students. But it's crazy that in 2023 we still fiddle around with TCP sockets, zone flood messages. I mean, like 20 years later, right? Zone flood messages. But yeah, it is. Yeah, as someone commented on a previous video, software that doesn't change is dead software, which I only partially agree with, but it's like, yeah, that certainly is very much alive. UDP, introduce option per net in as hash table, bond disable TLS feature indication, bridge, devlink, S-tool. Like, yeah, 2023, we're still link state at statistic for physical dawn events and stuff. Net filter, architecture, so now the more is interesting stuff. Apple T6000, M1 Pro, M1 Max, of which I live streamed for. I'm a little bit surprised that we only see this now, as this was obviously already upstream available for a long time, 6, 7, 8 months, really long time. But yeah, better late than ever. But we are already at M2, so I slightly wonder I probably need to update our T2 ASI Linux more up-to-date kernel. As per usual, the wild west of ARM platforms, Qualcomm, Snapdragon 821, 662, 460, and more, Rockchip, A-Speed, Freescale, BCM, IOMMU, Perf, SOC, and other generic shadow core stack support, KVM, you name it, x86, CallDev's tracking mitigation for improved performance, enable kernel IBT by default, SGX platform, KVM, advertise CPU ID features, Intel platform, Xen, VMX, PowerPC. A new option to build Big Onion 11 version 2 ABI. I guess previously that was Little Onion only. So similar to something what we enabled in T2. We are also one of the very few, if not the only one, who ship 32-bit Little Onion compatibility. But now if you wanted to use the new 11 version 2 ABI for Big Onion, you could compile and use that too for a little bit more modern and stuff and efficiency. Long Arch, this Chinese instructions and architecture, previous videos that also only very few accept our T2 Linux support. F-Trace support, also like basic stack protector. Also like, yeah, this is a little bit like a lost architecture, right? Why? Like they should have used RISC-V, right? But why not in 2020 start a new architecture, like a MIPS forked inspired architecture? Yeah, totally waste of resources and stuff that should have been RISC-V, but YOLO, they only live once. RISC-V, amazing improvements. Also, like I clicked on this already, right? So I did some due diligence and prepared for that, like MDP state and stuff. So super silly. I mean, similar to Little Big Onion, because honestly, like, yeah, YOLO, whatever. This should not have, this kind of stuff should not be in the kernel, and should also kind of not be mentioned there. Because first I thought this is decompression, but no, it isn't. So it's like, yeah, YOLO, they just run set standard on this image. This is silly. In my opinion, all this stuff should be post-kernel build, not clutter. Like build one image and how you compress it for your bootloader chain. Because currently there are very few. It's like, yeah, you need matching bootloader to decompress it. It's like, yeah, this is in the Linux kernel, that is even is mentioned here. This is silly, but there you have it. Dynamic F-Trace for RV32i. Initially support for Star Vision 5, SBC, per vendor events for the Sci-Fi View 74 JSON file. Actually, wondering. So this is probably just some perf definitions as expected. Otherwise, remove support for Xilinx PCIe bridges. Amazing. Intel enablement continues. New subsystem for compute accelerator devices. Actually, that is a more prominent to be mentioned feature, but scheduler, FIFO scheduling, FBDEF, no mode set in PCI devices. What even is it? Stuff you only move the no mode set kernel parameter driver video to make it available for non-DRM drivers. Amazing stuff. Yeah, Intel enablement. Also, this apparently ARC declared DG2 or so declared stable or so. AMD GPU now, like I previously read my previously as featured on Linus Tech Tips, Warnschau, Level 1 and stuff, my work on High-5 Unmatched running RDNA 2 there, now coming to ARM, right? Similar work I've done for RISC-V, now re-architecturing due to kernel, in-kernel floating point use, so that now support for ARM, so DCN, so that is moving floating point using code there to some other folder, especially building that, and now also enabling RDNA 2 based display core, is it display connect? Whatever. Display controller, yeah, display controller next, yeah, DCN for ARM. I probably should rebase my RISC-V work and see what is needed to get this upstream. The bridges panels, Novo, Ampere acceleration support, which certainly is amazing and welcome. VMware, GFX, AST, atomic LUT support, Sun 4i for new ARM, like the PinePhone. Power management EFI, command line init deloader support, what improve, what is that doing? I wish the summary at times, so EFI stub implement device path support for init command line. SCSI, it's like, yeah, also this is rework, this is funny. You see, I actually really, with my day job, right, not only running Linux distribution, but also a company, here I actually work with this stuff on a daily basis. Also, I prepared this 42 and rebased our IT87. All right, this is actually finally getting one tiny change upstream, but it actually took me quite a while to rebase that, so that actually worked on this, some of the stuff today. All right, I'm somehow here. And so yeah, IT87 patch, right, rebasing that took 1 hour. There's one tiny change upstream. And similar here, instead of core introduce new list of SCSI proc device entries, and that one is a little bit funny because I wonder if they have thought this through. Instead of using SCSI host template members to track SCSI proc directory entries, track those entries in a list. This changes the time needed to look up proc directory pointers from O1 to ON. This is considered acceptable since the number of SCSI host adapters types per host is usually small, less than 10. I mean, it is host adapter types. I mean, it made me giggle a little bit because the usual, like, yeah, usually you have less than 10 USB thumb drives or so, but I hope they took into account that some SCSI attached, serial attached SCSI stuff might have hundreds or thousands of disks in some storage arrays, right? Previous video, taking enterprise support series. Although it says, I didn't fully review that, but it's not that huge. But I hope they mean types, right? So I hope that, like, if you have one serial attached SCSI adapter 10 times, that is still ON for adapter type. So, because otherwise, if you have not like IBM and Oracle are screaming next that this ruins their performance, but whatever. ATI, remove some pulse chip, like 2023, nothing like removing some parallel ATA driver. NVM, fine granular sysadmin, NVMe IO commands, IEEE O UI, low privilege pass-through, multipass, drivers in the staging area, Atmel, IMX, Alviner, A31 ISP. Yeah, the only constant is change and regressions, Bluetooth, wireless, controllers. Hey, Intel for all the previous broken IGC Intel firmware corrupting on my Ryzen board here. Previous videos. Yeah, lots of changes. I mean, that is the thing, right? We have there 1,000 drivers in there. Then, of course, you have 1,000, 10,000 changes. Octeon for this previous MIPS enterprise stuff. Yeah, lots of, yeah, it is crazy in a way that these drivers are still not perfect, right? That we still have for Realtek, although that is a vendor device ID pair from Microsoft. Oh, this is a Microsoft dev kit. Oh, that is cool. That certainly should be the ARM64. But yeah, this is just device ID, right? It is amazing that those kernel newbie people pick up all the changes. But otherwise, maybe this is also only device ID. Oh no, this is actually, yeah, it is crazy how many different Ethernet drivers we have and that we are still need to fiddle around. Here's also add uBlocks composition. It's probably also just another device ID. In a way, it is crazy that this stuff is not more generic and that we still on a daily basis need to add some device IDs here and there. It's like, yeah, 30 minutes, approaching 30 minutes. Audio, SoundWire, ASOC for this advanced Linux sound architecture, system on chip support, tablet, touchscreen, keyboard, mouse, driver, Cypress, Somex, HID, Apple. Again, swap control key 4. This is crazy. We have swapped this a couple of times. I still have a patch. So this is crazy that we still keep swapping this around. It's probably the 5th time. I mean, I kept some patch for this nonsense for a decade. I thought some stuff is upstream. Apparently no, but maybe this is a new keyboard, so allows users control and command keys. This is crazy because this was supposed to be upstream, or is it? No, previously this was a function key. So this is apparently now addition to the function key. Apparently swap Windows layout, Alt command. Now you can also additionally swap. You heard it here first. You know, you can not only swap your Alt and command key, now you can also swap your control and command key. Apparently my patch still applies, right? So I have here I thought I have here, oops, at least once upon a time I had here. So I was one who, yeah, here we have still, this is probably, this is for, this is just the default. This is in the meantime. Yeah, so we swap this by default because obviously that is silly. But yeah, so after having this a decade in T2 or 15 years, that is now still, at least it's upstream, also not the default. I should probably review if we do that still for ADB keyboards for iBooks and PowerBooks. I2C, changes, drivers, improvements, universal serial bus. What did we get there? Lots of changes. Serial, physicals, SPI, Intel, SFDP, microchip, watchdog, serial. Hey, we still fiddle with 8250, Ingenic for maybe the MIPS CI20, but otherwise 8250 OMAP support native RS485 for this serial variant. Yeah, voltage, current regulators, power supply, real-time clock. I still have to fix the Sun Ultra 5, so that probably still regressed. MTD, SPI NOR, industrial I/O for all those IIO that you probably never heard about. Multifunction devices, Ampere, Alter, SM Pro MFD driver, pulse width modulation, integrated circuit, I3C for this new. I wonder, because the new DDR5 is I3C, I still need to find time to mess around with that, because I still didn't, because I would want to read the temperature. So normally all DDR5, so previously only expensive DDR4 modules with a hardware sensor had temperature. The new DDR5 modules also can have an additional temperature sensor. I see, but my understanding is that all DDR5 should have temperature sensing, at least on the hub, the DDR5 hub controller there, and an onboard voltage regulator. And unfortunately that is I3C, because why not? And I guess there still is not a Linux driver. That is a sad thing. I wish the industry and big vendors like Intel, AMD, Samsung, Hynix, and so on would get the act together. But yeah, they haven't. I tried to get this to work. Actually, here's some master. But this is probably some I2C. No, that's not memory controller. Hardware monitoring, as I mentioned, IT87 for some ACPI resource conflicts. That was in ORT2 Linux, of course. That took me way too long to rebase. But there are 3 more changes, so that they only picked up. Yeah, so IT87 are 3 changes. I closed this already. But yeah, nothing that you could not have already out of 3. NCT 6775, Asus Crosshair, ProArt and whatnot, B550 for this temperature sensor stuff. And again, I wish there would be more industry standard. It is silly that we still mess around with this direct, differently not documented and stuff, temperature sensors. Finally, JZ4755, that could be again MIPS. Sounds like the MIPS CI20 potentially, or similar, of this MIPS SOC, Tegra, DMA channel mask, crypto hardware acceleration, Rockchip and others, PCI, Designware generic resource by Carl T1. That sounds actually like the Russian SOC. Maybe that is some Russian ARM SOC though. IMCX. Did they not say by Carl? So by Carl sounds like the Russian. Where have I been? Generic resource by Carl T1. Maybe they have also an ARM. I can't have track of all the foreign SOC implementations. PCI Access Link 2 register device, port driver, AER service only, root ports, support for per device MSIX domains. That sounds interesting for probably more virtualization or high density, whatever. Mesh message signal interrupt. Ingenic, again, JZ that might, again, MIPS CI20 or similar such SOCs, obviously. Yeah, clocks, Renesas, Rockchip, physical layer framework, Allwinner, Freescale, EDEC, error detection and correction, various acceleration, whatever, random stuff, mailbox, PTP, CXL, and yeah. There you have it. Massive amounts of changes. I'm happy this is still online since 45 minutes. I had to reboot a couple of times, not only for my IT87 changes, but also AMD state, which unfortunately doesn't have changes. So of course, I have NT2 AMD state. So I'm obviously running that. At least the previous patch I had pulled in still applies, because there obviously was not a change. So that's it for this massive changes. I prepared, I'm pre-testing that I into our increasingly amazing embedded desktop server and enterprise Linux. I of course wait for the .1 patch to pull this upstream for you. In the meantime, I tested whether that instantly breaks for me. So far that is running. Probably there will be one more .13 before there will be a 6.2.1. So probably 1.13 update in T2 and then .1 when that is a little bit more stable for you playing along at home and our business, enterprise and embedded customers. Let's see. Yeah, welcome everyone. I nearly live streamed the patch rebasing, but it was a little bit boring. If you want, leave in the comments below what you want to see. Did you, although one popular video is kernel developer developing kernel. Do I have actually a build of PowerPC? I have a PowerPC build here, probably. Let's see. PowerP64LE. And that probably mostly built. So let's rebuild the PowerPC kernel, because we have some PS3 patches here for all the PS3 subscribers, fans and Patreons. So let's see if that 6.1. Ah, wait, I'm building the wrong kernel. Let's quickly, nothing like some last minute Q&A patch. I named it 6. Also, I think I misnamed it 6.1. That is nothing like some live testing here. 6. Where are we even? 6.2. Let's do that again. Let's also quickly, let's epic thread rip that in parallel. Nothing like testing PowerPC and architecture ARM64, because I literally forgot what kernel we are rocking here, but maybe I deleted that. Oh no, I didn't. So yeah, we also want to update this Asai Linux thing to the latest and greatest enablement there. Let's see what they have to offer. Probably best. Hello, did I? What the heck? I hope we're not having desktop audio. I wanted to copy and paste that now. Let's see what they have to offer. December. So yeah, this patches here. This is a little bit annoying in my opinion. With all those trees, I wish they would have here more trees, because now with those trees it is a little bit difficult to keep track. So what I don't like here is that you open this and you don't have like a main development tree that is of course older. And now you would need to have inside knowledge which of the many branches you freaking are supposed to, because ideally I would have history 6.2. Ideally I would want to use, like, yeah, the annoying thing is with all those gazillion changes, modern complexity and stuff, now I need to poke those people and ask like, hey, master Asai kernel Jedi's, which is the most up-to-date GPU stuff we should ship, because there are too many changes. So PS3, yeah, I mean there were not PS3 changes. So I mean theoretically, yeah, I want to ship GPU stuff. So probably the Rust Asai Linux AGX CPU stuff certainly takes many more months probably to get upstream. So probably what we want to do is pull in the latest and greatest stuff that I still need to get working. And if I'm lucky, I have here in our Discord, which you probably want to share, like, and subscribe and join. If I'm lucky, then Elar has some weeks ago posted the... Am I an arm? I'm an arm. Hopefully that is an arm. So the problem is she has so many Unicode glyphs that I probably have a hard time searching for that. Too many Discord messages. Where is it even? Because once upon a time I had asked and got an answer. Which date is it even? Hello date? Wait, this is way old. Or we have that in GFX GPU. That is also a possibility. Too many Discord channels. Ah, here. Here we have the GPU work, and so M1. Okay, this is M1 N1. That is Mesa and Linux GPU Rust work in progress. Probably, maybe here. Commits 2 weeks ago. That sounds more amazing than last December. So what I could do is then copy this, and which kernel is it based upon? It's does it work when we click here? Oh no, it doesn't. Bummer. I need here somewhere. Darn. Otherwise we just check it out and actually want to browse. Where can I freaking browse that? I hate when... okay, fine, whatever. We can fix this later. 6E 97. We want this short form. Short form there, short hash there, and short hash there. Oops. 6E97, 6E97, and then download config ARM64 Linux to during checkout. Why? No, I can also do this later. Okay, PowerPC, Epic, thread ripped in 3 minutes. I need to test build that, right? So you want to share, like, subscribe, Patreon, GoFundMe, and all the good stuff. And slightly wonder what's going on with that one. So, or do I not? Ah, on this installation I don't have Git. Let's quickly tabs on or only. Nah, so much to testing your own Linux distribution and then not having Git checked out yet. It would, so yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in. So many changes. Is there any? So yeah, I answered your T's question there. Update to MDP state, not upstream, but darn. Not even Git building anymore. Out of the box, what's going on here? So this is somehow new. How the freaking heck does that happen? I had this also in the kernel build. That is super silly. I wonder if that is so stupid. I mean, this must be some kernel change. Probably because it only started to happen today. It's like, yeah, the only constant change in progressions. There is upstream a new version, which probably I should pull in. But yeah, Evo testing this 6.3 on parents, X570 Zen 2, HDPC at the moment, AMDP set active mode working so far, lows per usage desperately. Well, so yeah, 6.3. So yeah, I have some version for whatever of this MDP state, but I mean, yeah, I run that. So Yeah, but that is not 6.2 related. Soon, UEFI options tweaked, lower power usage. Welcome, Danny. Why would they even revert performance? Surely, why wouldn't they be in vector map? Support for Intel, so it comes with support for Intel Arc. I think that's very important. Only AMD GPU. Yeah, the support was there, I think, just not enabled by default, but certainly good that that is enabled. Although my understanding is that the 6.1 is supposed to become a LTS, long-term support kernel, which is a little bit silly then if Intel Arc is not enabled by default there, but that is just the random Linux Foundation's Linux maintainer of choice, which I, as so often, do not agree with. It's like, yeah, I wish stuff would be more perfect, but it isn't. Yeah, Git cloning, 3 GB. Later, Ewood says Vulkan graphics pipeline library has been working great. DXVK Mesa lately. RADV perf test setting. Get rid of most others. That sounds amazing. So yeah, as per usual, did here some work. In the meantime, leave in the comments below how much more you want to see live. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something. As usual, there is this Patreon, GitHub sponsors, YouTube membership, GoFundMe, or even OnlyFans if you want to support all this Linux-related works, keeping all those architectures and vintage stuff alive. And have a good day or night, and I hope to see you next time for the next fun stuff to come.